Alright, guys, we're going to be reviewing the X-Men film series. Just got X-Men Dark Phoenix. So, might as well start with the first X-Men. X-Men came out in the year 2000. This was an iconic film and really set the table for future superhero movies. It was an evolution of how superhero movies were done. This was the cause for the MCU and DCU to come into the existence. So this features a quite big ensemble cast. You have Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. You have Patrick Stewart, who's playing Professor X. He recently played Picard in Star Trek. Ian McKellen, he plays Magneto. Halle Berry as Storm. Famke Janssen as Jean Grey. Anna Paquin as Rogue. Rebecca Romijn as Mystique. James Marsden as Cyclops. And this film is directed by Bryan Singer. Mr. Singer had a huge task ahead of him when directing this movie. Superhero movies at the time weren't really the best. Not all of them were that good, but he had a few like Batman and Superman and Blade. So how did X-Men do? It went very well. Grossed a decent amount in the box office. So let's break down the movie. This movie starts off in the Holocaust, World War II. We see Magneto. His parents are taken away. This is what drives his rage for his hatred of the human race. So then we get to see the introduction of Rogue in the movie. The opening scene is her kissing her boyfriend. Her boyfriend actually goes into a coma because her mutant powers is when she touches someone, apparently something happens, and she freaked out. You know, she was young, she's a teenager. Your mutant powers develop when you are a teenager, between 13 and 18. So her mutant powers were developing. They were untrained. And she kissed her boyfriend. She probably didn't know what was going to happen until he got into a seizure and a seizure. And so she left. She ran away from home. She's ashamed. She wanted to get away as far as town as possible. And she does some hitchhiking. She gets a ride from a truck, and she goes to a cage fighting arena. That's where we see Wolverine. He already knows his powers by now. We know how he got his powers. Apparently, he's involved in type of military experiment. He got metal claws. So he's found his powers. He knows how to use them. That's why he's doing cage fighting for money. And we get to see an intense fight scene at the bar. You know, there's a couple of guys that know that he is a mutant, and he just pops out his claws and threatens to kill him. And apparently the bar decides to kick him out. So he meets Rogue, and he's very reluctant to meet Rogue because he doesn't like interacting with other people because of his abilities. But they meet Rogue, they kind of come together. Now all of a sudden they're ambushed by Sabretooth. This is where we see the X-Men, Cyclops, and Storm come to the rescue. They take Wolverine back to the X-Mansion, do some checkups on him, and they're wondering why Magneto and his group are after him. This is where we could see the formation of the X-Men and the Brotherhood of Mutants, which is Magneto's army. Meanwhile, we go to Washington, D.C. Jean Grey is having a discussion with the Senate on whether if mutants are dangerous. She believes that not all mutants are dangerous, but some of them are. You know, she doesn't believe that mutants are really a threat to society. Some of them just need their abilities to be trained and used properly. On the other hand, you have Senator Kelly. He is proposing a Mutant Registration Act, which is the plot of this film. He believes mutants are dangerous. He wants to know if they are dangerous. He thinks the mutants should be controlled. He wants mutants to register their names, their abilities, and where they're at so they can be monitored. And Jean Grey doesn't really like that idea. Neither does Professor X. After the Senate hearing is over, we see Magneto and Professor X having a conversation. Magneto's like, the human race will never accept us for who we are. You know it, Xavier. Xavier's trying to convince Magneto that the human race has changed. Or have they? Then we were back to the X-Mansion. We start to see some relationships form. We see Wolverine, Xavier beginning their relationship. We see a relationship between Jean Grey and Wolverine. This is starting to drive a wedge between Jean Grey and Cyclops. Cyclops and Jean Grey, they are in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. And here comes Wolverine to the picture. Cyclops is starting to get a little bit jealous. Yeah. So everything is going well. Until you have Rogue. She awakens Wolverine tonight. Guess she had a bad dream. Wolverine's also having some bad dreams, and we'll figure out why he's having those dreams in the next movie. Apparently they relate to his past. But Wolverine is awoken. He stabs Rogue accidentally. And Rogue, she's hurt, she's bleeding, and what she does, she absorbs Wolverine's power to heal herself. And that's what her powers are. She can absorb people's powers. But if you're a human, don't have any powers, so I guess you go into a coma or something like that. But the entire school freaks out. There's a lot of screaming and yelling. Wolverine's asking for help. All the X-Men members come in. All the students are coming in. They're freaked out. Rogue again feels ashamed, and she sets out into the open to discover herself. She's located at a train station. Wolverine comes there to reconvene. Meanwhile, Magneto's forces are tracking Rogue. They don't want Wolverine. Xavier initially thought that they are after Wolverine, but they are after Rogue because she can absorb mutants' powers. So Magneto tracks Rogue down to the train station. You get to see Sabretooth and Toad battle Cyclops and Storm. Cyclops tears a hole through the train station. He owes them a new sunroof. That's the quote that Wolverine said. Meanwhile, on the train, we have Magneto make his presence. He rips apart the train. He uses powers like throws Wolverine at the end of the train, and he kidnaps Rogue. And he wants Rogue because he has a machine. He can't use it himself because he's too old. What he'll do is he'll transfer his powers to Rogue, and Rogue will power the machine that will turn all the humans into mutants. He doesn't like the human race, so he wants the human race to feel his pain. And one person has already felt that, Senator Kelly. The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. They kidnap Kelly, they hold him in prison, and do an experiment on him. He kind of becomes a mutant. He somehow escapes. He finds Professor X for help, but it's too late because he dies. But I wouldn't say he dies, he melts. He turns to water. It's a disgusting scene of how he dies. The special effects in this movie, they are top notch. And that was just a disgusting, weird scene. This movie took place in 2000. So anyway, the X-Men, they are alerted of the Senator's death, and they must find Rogue and Magneto. This leads to the Statue of Liberty, where Rogue is being held. You get to see fight scenes between Mystique and Wolverine, Sabretooth and Wolverine. Eventually, Rogue is rescued, Magneto is defeated, and he gets taken into some type of prison that has no metal, because Magneto has the ability to control metal. As far as this film, I would probably give it an 8 out of 10. I like it. I wouldn't say it's a great movie, an awesome movie. I don't think it's really enough to get it a 10 out of 10, but I do like it. At that time, I wasn't really a big fan of the X-Men. I didn't really know a whole lot about them. Thought they were different from the others. I was always the Spider-Man guy. I didn't read the comics. The only X-Men characters I really knew were about... The only X-Men characters I knew were Wolverine, Magneto, and Professor X. That was it. But I saw the movies when I was doing my Marvel movie collection. I saw and I liked it. I didn't think it was that bad. But I'll probably give it an 8. Not that I have any issues with it. Just wasn't really enough for me to give it a 10 out of 10. But overall, it was a solid film, and it did what it needed to do. It allowed other big ensemble superhero movies to come out in theaters, such as The Avengers, Fantastic Four, Expendables, Transformers, and Justice League. The X-Men did its job. So I gotta give props for that. Give it an 8 out of 10. I like the movie. I think it's a good movie that everyone should check out. There you go. That is the X-Men review. Next will be X2, X-Men Unite.